Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amber. I'm going to be showing you all the books that I got recently. So normally I don't really do that many book hauls because I don't buy many books, but over the past couple of months I've been buying a few more because they make me feel better, so why not? I've also received a couple of books as gifts and I've traded for some, I think, and I also have a couple of review copies. Let me know in the comments below if in the future, because there will be more book hauls, because I've decided to buy my books monthly until we're out of quarantine because they are making me feel a lot better about myself and it's my money, I can do what I want. So I've decided that once I reach my savings goal, which I spoke about in my June TBR/goals video, which is £1,000 a month, if I have any spare money left over, I can maybe splurge on books. So that's what I've been doing. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to include ebooks in future book hauls because they will be a more regular thing while we're in quarantine. I don't usually include ebooks that I get, but maybe you'd be interested in seeing the NetGalley books or eDevice books that I managed to get hold of. I'm just not really sure if it's something you want to see if I don't have the physical book in front of me. So without further ado, let's get started with this book haul. I'll show you the first lot that I bought first because that makes more sense and that's also what's at the top of the pile. So the first three are ones that I kind of regret buying because I didn't enjoy them. Those are the Witchlands books. I bought books 1, which is Truthwitch, 2, which is Windwitch, and book 3, Bloodwitch, I received as a review copy. I read the first 1.5 books and I really didn't enjoy them. I did a whole reading vlog on this series because I was convinced that I was going to love them, so I was like, oh yeah, let's do a hyped up reading vlog where I binge read the series, but I really did not enjoy them. I talk about these more in my wrap up, my May wrap up. If you want to go and check that out, I will leave a link up above, but I really didn't enjoy them, so I'm going to be giving these away at some point once I can get back to the post office, as well as Bloodwitch, which I'm really thankful to Tor for sending it to me, but I really didn't enjoy it, so I'm gonna give them away. I bought a book that I'm super hyped for, and that is The Stone Sky. This is the third book in N.K. Jemisin's Broken Earth trilogy. I've only read the first one so far, but Justine texted me recently and told me that I have to read The Obelisk Gates, so I'm going to be doing that hopefully in July and then getting around to this one too. I think I might do a reading vlog for both of them once I get around to them. I've got kind of an idea for a project that I could do in August, so that's exciting. Another project, I know I am overwhelming myself a bit. So the first book in this trilogy is The Fifth Season. In that book it's told from 3 different perspectives. There's an earthquake and one of the main characters suffers the loss of their child because they get murdered, and it's really sad and disturbing. And then there's also a younger character, I can't remember what their names are at this point, I read it so long ago, I'm going to have to recap. There's a younger character as well who is taken from her home and taken to a sort of academy sort of thing for people with powers, and she's sort of trained to be what is essentially a slave. And then there's also another third character has the same kind of earth-bending powers, and they go on an adventure with someone called Alabaster. It's a really complex book. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to carry on with this trilogy. I'm really glad that I have both the second and third books now. I then bought myself Night Film, which is an adult thriller, and I've had my eye on this one for the longest time. I'm so glad that I finally got around to it. I think I'm going to pick this one up in July as well because I'm super hyped. This one is an adult thriller suspense novel. In this book, a woman's body is found in an abandoned warehouse. An investigative journalist called Scott suspects that it's not actually a suicide, and he starts looking into it. And what is really interesting about this book is that it's told in mixed media format, and so you've got articles and internet excerpts. I said that really weirdly, I'm aware, don't judge me. Various different emails. I don't want to scroll too far through the book because I don't want to accidentally run into spoilers, but we've also got like little bits of paper that are ripped out and added to the book. So I think this is kind of like the case file for this investigation, so it's got all of the scraps and bits and pieces that the journalist looked into and found. I am dying to read this, and now that I'm talking about it I really want to read it right now, but I've got other stuff to read so I can't. I don't actually know anyone who hasn't liked this book. Don't tell me if you didn't because I don't want to know and be put off, but as far as I'm aware, all of my friends have loved it who have read it. The next one is one that I picked up at work when I was still in the office, and I started a book swap. So there was a little corner in the office where you could put books and then take books, whatever ones you wanted. And that book is The 100-Year-Old Man, which one of my friends at work read and she really enjoyed it. I think this is adult contemporary. I don't know if it's got some magical realism in there as well. It says that the main character is called Alan and it's his 100th birthday party. Alan manages to escape through his bedroom window, and we learn more about his earlier life, and there are murders and criminals and suitcases of cash and one incompetent police officer. So I'm looking forward to reading this one, especially because my friend really enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm going to get to it anytime soon, but I'm definitely intrigued, especially after that guy, Captain Tom, I think his name was, he, for his 100th birthday, did a certain amount of steps and raised 32 million for the NHS or something ridiculous like that. So I'm going to be imagining him as I read this book. The next ones are ones that I received as gifts. So I've got 4 here. The first one I got from my friend Katie, whose channel is adorable. I will leave her link below. She reads a lot of adult and YA fantasy. She's got a really good channel and she is so sweet. So I would definitely recommend going to check her out. And she sent me Flamecaster by Cinda Williams-Chimer, and I adore this cover. I didn't know it was going to be kind of one of those matted ones, and in person it honestly looks incredible. I love it so much. So this author wrote the 7 Realms series, which I haven't finished yet, but I do want to finish it before picking this one up, and then I'm going to binge read this entire series because I know that I love Cinda Williams-Chimer's writing. Is it Chimer or Chimer? So it says here, a wizard prince in exile thirsting for revenge, a girl with a curse striking back against a ruthless king. Together they will burn the kingdom to its rotten core. Honestly, I can say from experience her writing is fantastic. She really draws you in and she writes incredible worlds. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one, but I'm going to have to reread her previous series first. The next ones are all from my friend Justine over at I Should Read That. Justine also reads a lot of adult fantasy and sci-fi. She's got a really good channel. I would recommend going to check her out if you haven't already. These are all advanced readers copies that she no longer needed, so she was very kind and sent them all to me. I basically wanted these because they're all ones that I want to do a little project for. Again, another project. I know I'm going to wear myself out. Also, I want to recap them all for recaptains. So the first one is The Girl King by Mimi Yu. This one didn't get the best reviews when it came out at the beginning of last year. It's adult fantasy. It's about 2 sisters. One of the sisters is to become the first female ruler of this empire, and the other one has kind of always been in her sister's shadow, but then one day their father says that their cousin, their male cousin, is actually going to be the ruler for the empire or kingdom instead of one of the main characters. So that kicks off a whole stream of events, and I am looking forward to reading it. My hopes are kind of low for it. My expectations are kind of low. So while I was really excited to read it at the beginning of last year, now that I've kind of got more normal expectations of it, I think I might actually really enjoy it. I've got We Hunt the Flame and a note from Justine, an arc of We Hunt the Flame, which came out in summer last year, about a year ago now. The author used to be a book blogger. I know her from that, and this is YA fantasy. I think Justine and I did start to read this together, but neither of us were really in the mood for it. I remember the writing style being quite dense, so I am looking forward to reading this, but I'm not sure I'm going to pick it up until towards the autumn when I'm in the mood for a denser fantasy book, because summer is basically the time for thrillers and contemporaries for me. This is about a main character called Zafira, who is a hunter. She disguises herself as a man and she has to go into the cursed forest to feed her people. Nazir is the Prince of Death and he's an assassin. He's also the son of the Sultan. War is brewing. I don't really know much more about the plot, but I'm very, very excited to read this book, especially because I've heard so many good things about it. It's a shame that I wasn't really in the mood for it when I started it last year, but hopefully I will be in a couple of months. And then I have The Stormcrow. My friend Cal over at Reader Voracious is hosting a readathon, read-along for this one. I will leave a link to that below in the description. The sequel to this one is coming out very soon. I think that one's called The Crow Rider. This one received a lot of hype last year because it came out around the same time as The Merciful Crow as well, and so the two of them were kind of linked in their publicity. This is another YA fantasy debut. It says here that it's Eragon, which is an interesting thing to say since it came out so long ago, meets Andai Darken in this thrilling new fantasy debut that follows a fallen princess as she ignites a rebellion to bring back the magical elemental crows that were taken from her people. It says here that Princess Anthea is in a deep depression. Her sister is busy running the kingdom after their mother's death, and then the same sister is forced to agree to a marriage between Anthea and a prince of a warring kingdom. This has a lot to unpack. It's a very short book, so I'm curious to see where it goes. I do know people who have loved this book though, even though it's not the most hyped up book from last year, so I'm really looking forward to reading it, and I'm hoping to get to it very soon. And then finally I have an advanced reader's copy, except it's not really, it's a review copy of a final book, and that is The City of 1,000 Faces. This is adult fantasy. It's being published by Orion Books. I think it came out at the end of May on the 28th, I believe, and it sounds like something that I will absolutely love. So the press release says the Tumen Bay, if that's how you pronounce it, is the most magnificent city on earth. There's a vast empire, city of dreams, where those who once arrived as slaves, now reside in the seats of power. The master of the palace guard roots out spies and traitors, and the wife of the sultan is suspicious that her new maid is not who she claims to be. A mysterious stranger arrives with a gift for the sultan, a gift that will change the city forever. To be honest, I accepted this one when I was still going through Empire of Gold emotions, post Empire of Gold emotions. This sounded exactly what I needed to kind of fill in that gap just a little bit. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. I'm going to try to fit it in June or July. It's a bit of a hefty book, but the chapters are short, so I think it's one that I could maybe space out throughout the month. And I don't think I'm going to get to it in June, actually, just because I have so much going on, but I am really looking forward to reading this one. So those are all the books that I have acquired in recent months. Like I said, these book haul videos will be a bit more regular until we're out of lockdown, because book buying is kind of feeding my soul right now. So please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'll be back soon with another one. I try to upload at least 3 times a week, so you'll be seeing a lot of me if you do subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all in my next video. Bye.